All right, thanks for staying with us. We got you that important global exclusive. Chris Food on his India call, but let me also mark markets. 25 points up for the Nifty. The Bank Nifty continues to drag the market down, and that really has been the concern for us, that the financials, we are underperforming, and they continue to massively underperform. But Shree Renuka Sugar has signed a deal of restructuring agreement with the banks. They have decided to allocate 48.1 crore share to CCPS, to Wilmer, and CCPS to be issued will be issued the shares at 16.27. Narendra Murkumbi has decided to step down as the vice chairman in that capacity. So let's understand the restructuring, what it means for minority shareholders, and what could be the way forward for the sugar sector and Shree Renuka. So to discuss and understand all that and much more, we have with us Narendra Murkumbi of Shree Renuka Sugar. Narendra, fantastic to have you back, and thank you for joining us. Now, can you explain the restructuring for us, and why have you decided to step down as the managing director and vice chairman?
Good morning, Nikunj. I think we have done a comprehensive restructuring with our banks. We reduced the debt, we reduced all our obligations, including guarantee obligations, and the final debt as of March end should be about less than 2,000 crores. Wilmar is stepping in, putting in money, increasing their stake. They are going to be the lead shareholder, and you know, in that sense, it's actually time for me to step down, move on, and let them take the lead as far as the management and leadership of this company is concerned. I think this is an occasion where for the first time a very, very strong international agri-commodity player is stepping in the sugar sector in such a big manner. I think for the sector also it's a very big step. Despite, you know, the current softness in the cycle, I think this has a very it says a lot about the long-term potential of this sector. And for us, I think the debt environment in the country is anyway hard, but I think I'm glad that we have been very proactive. We have addressed this problem right from last year, and we have been able to resolve this successfully and most importantly amicably with our banks. All our banks are on board. There's not a single exception there, and therefore you know, we are very glad to complete this investment as well as restructuring in this month. And going forward, obviously the idea is to you know, focus now on the turnaround of the company. We've had a kind of very severe setback with our international operations, and primarily, you know, I would say that I am responsible as the leader of this company from inception. It falls on me to take that responsibility, and I think it is it's time for Renuka to really refocus on the domestic market, refocus on our brand Madhur, which is now #1 in India and growing very rapidly, and build a stronger Indian sugar and ethanol business. Also with its very important global leg, which is our sugar refinery business, which is one of the largest in the world and which has now a very important kind of market position in the Middle Eastern markets out of Kandla, which is where our large refinery is based. So this is overall the kind of outlook and the reason why we are doing what we have announced today.
Okay, now I understand the restructuring exercise and banks are on board, but I'm more interested in knowing what will happen to your commitment towards the company. What will be your ownership or percentage stake in the company, and will you be resigning from all your executive roles?
So I'm resigning as executive vice chairman and managing director. I continue to be on the board, and I'll continue to serve on the board after this in a non-executive position after my notice period. So I'm around for a few more months, as the announcement says. After that, I'll continue to be involved with the company and in the strategy of the company, and that's it basically.
And what will be your ownership in the company, if I may ask you this question directly, because this restructuring will also be leading to an equity dilution, right?
Yeah, exactly. So my stake will drop to about 13% approximately. That's me and my family. Hello?
Murkumbi, 13% stake is a very fairly decent level for you to continue your service to the board. You know, the reason I'm asking you this is because it's your vision and your good work which really got Shree Renuka, which you essentially decided to stride Shree Renuka with your mother. Now, even though you have 13% ownership, why would you be resigning from the board? I mean, was that part of your understanding with your global investor?
Well, very much. We are cancelling our joint venture agreement, and we had a joint venture with them for the last 3 years. So they were also having 27% shareholding in the company. Now that they are stepping up as the main promoter of the company, they are guaranteeing part of the debt directly to the Indian banks. So at this stage, it is part of the deal, obviously, that this they will take a decision on all the executive positions going forward.
Narendra, after your exit, what would be your message to the shareholders? Because we've seen some massive wealth erosion in the Shree Renuka stock price, and now that you're gone, would you say that the shareholders would be in safe hands?
Well, as I said at the start of this interview, credentials of Wilmar are well known. I think they're one of the strongest agri-business companies in the world. They're very large in size. They already have a very serious commitment to India in the edible oil segment. Their joint venture is Adani Wilmar is #1 by far, the market leader. So you have a group which is globally very strong in agribusiness, has a very large sugar division. They are largest sugar trader in the world. And more than that, they have already a very strong commitment in terms of management, business and investment in India in other sectors, namely the edible oil sector. So I think the message is very clear. In fact, as I said, their entry in the sugar sector directly in a kind of lead shareholder role, as a promoter role, they are going to be the promoter of the company from now on. That is a very, very significant step even for the sector.
What are your plans now that the exit has happened? Do we continue to call you the sugar man, or are you going to don a different hat?
Let's see. I'm here for some more time. Beyond that, let's see what life brings.
Okay, we'll chat again soon after that. But tell me, what's left in the company now? What about the current debt levels? How will the debt levels fare from here onwards over a period of time?
Yeah. So, residual debt will fall to less than 2,000 crores.
Would there be material plans to bring down the debt going forward?
I think we've already made, compared to last year when we have almost halved our debt. So the equity base goes up. We are allotting shares to Wilmar as well as to the banks. So there is an equity dilution, but on the debt side, we've reduced it to half.
To stay invested in 13% of your ownership after dilution, or it's a matter of time you would be looking at a complete exit of your personal investment in Shree Renuka?
Nikuj, I think that is just speculation. I would not want to comment like that on a call. Thanks.
Where is the sugar cycle headed? The cycle which was in this epic bull run 8-10 years ago has not really recovered. Sometimes, yeah, please go ahead.
I think, we have to see a consolidation in the sector before we can actually have pricing power. We do have a cyclical commodity, and right now it seems like we are again going into somewhat of a bear cycle. Production is higher than anybody expected even 6 months ago. But that's a cycle we've seen many times before. The real problem has been that when production is high, because of the fragmented shape of the sector, we've not been actually able to come together and solve the surplus problem. I think already we are seeing some kind of quasi consolidation in the north, and the entry of strong players in the south, starting with Wilmar, I think will over the next 3 to 5 years significantly change the structure of the industry into a more industry with a solid balance sheet, which is what you need to ride the cycle of the sector. I think the core commodity is very, very strong, and the potential for sugar in this country of 1.3 billion people is also very, very strong. What is needed is a stronger financial base for the industry, and a more kind of long-term view that people can take, which can only happen through consolidation, and that's really the key to riding out the cycle.
Okay. Closing comments from you, Mr. Murkumbi, and this is really about sugar sector. We all know that sugar sector has a huge, or banks have a huge exposure to sugar sector. You've managed to restructure your loan very smartly because you've been backed by a global commodity player. That may not be the story for other sugar players, and there are about a dozen listed sugar companies. Do you think it's a matter of time some of them will start going belly up and banks will start calling them as NPAs and they could go through the NCLT route?
The RBI has significantly, tightened the norms for debt restructuring on the 12th of February. And I, like any other sector, and especially because it's a more cyclical sector, sugar industry, not only listed but even the unlisted companies are going to go through a huge challenge in the cyclical downturn of the sector. I think the RBI norms are very, very strict and will be even more harsh for cyclical industries. So the need for financial strength now is more than ever before, and we are going to have very interesting times in our sector in the next 12 to 18 months. Yeah, I do see a lot of companies, small and big, heading for NCLT in the next 18 months in our sector.
Now, Narendra, I've been interacting with you for nearly a decade now, more than a decade, and every time I've interacted with you, as the managing director of Shree Renuka Sugar, so I'm sure it may be a historic day for you. You've decided to step down from the board of the company which you and your mother started, but I certainly hope that we get to interact much more, maybe not in your capacity of a sugar man, maybe in a different avatar, but let's make a promise before I say bye that we'll keep in touch and we'll interact much more.
Thank you so much, Nick.